For 3 months, I backpacked around Europe. I saw famous places, art and history. I walked through old Roman ruins, stood under the Eiffel Tower at night, and watched sunsets over the blue waters of Santorini. I was checking off everything on the typical traveler's list. For a while, it felt like the peak of what travel could be. Europe was everything I'd imagined from books and movies. I'll never forget standing inside the Colosseum in Rome. It felt unreal, like history had come alive. In Switzerland, I rode a train through the Alps, staring out the window at valleys and snowy peaks. In Spain, I loved Barcelona's buildings, the busy food markets, and the energy of flamenco. I ate tapas, drank sangria, and felt like I was in a dream. But slowly, reality set in. First was the cost. Europe is expensive, and I felt constant stress about money. Every meal and snack came with a calculation in my head. I spent more time worrying about my budget than enjoying the moment. Then there were the crowds. At the Louvre, I didn't really see the Mona Lisa. I saw hundreds of people taking pictures of it. Traveling started to feel like a checklist instead of a real experience. I had the photos, but the memories felt shallow. I also noticed how interactions often felt distant. People were polite, but not warm. Everything worked efficiently, but it sometimes felt cold and rushed, especially in big cities. Life there seemed so scheduled and stressful, and I realized I wasn't making the personal connections I craved. It was like I was moving through these amazing places, but never truly touching them. Everything looked perfect on the outside, but something important was missing. My plan was to end my trip in Greece and fly home. But when I got there, I felt restless, like I hadn't found what I was really looking for. One night, sitting in a hostel with cheap wine and my laptop, I decided to look for something different. I didn't want another museum or landmark. I wanted a real change. So I opened a flight search, typed in my city, and let the anywhere option choose my next move. I saw a name on the flight list I barely knew, the Philippines. Just a group of islands in Southeast Asia, more than 7,000 of them, but I couldn't have told you much else. The ticket was cheap, and in a mix of curiosity and exhaustion, I clicked book. Landing in Manila was overwhelming, but in the best way. The moment I stepped outside, the heat and humidity wrapped around me. The air was thick with smells, grilled street food, diesel fumes from jeepneys, and sweet tropical flowers. The streets were alive with honking, chatter in Tagalog and English, and music blasting from hidden speakers. Within 10 minutes, I was completely lost. In Europe, that would have stressed me out, but here it felt different. I asked a woman selling fruit for help. Instead of just pointing, she set down her knife, smiled, and walked with me 3 blocks to my destination, chatting the whole way. She refused money, gave me a friendly pat, and went back to her cart. That tiny act of kindness hit me harder than anything I'd felt in months of European travel. It was real, generous, human. From Manila, I flew to Palawan. The ride from the airport was rough. Bumpy roads, dogs and chickens everywhere, ferries packed with people and livestock. Nothing sleek or polished, but I loved it. Every chaotic moment pulled me deeper into the place. On a slow ferry with the sun on my face, I realized my idea of travel was changing. The Philippines started to reshape me through 3 things: the people, the nature, and a simple way of life that made me rethink what rich means. Everyone says Filipinos are friendly, but that word doesn't capture it. It isn't customer service, it's genuine. One day in rural Bohol, I got caught in a sudden downpour. Soaked and shivering under a tree, I was waved inside a small hut. A woman wrapped me in a towel while her husband set a steaming bowl of chicken soup in front of me. Their kids peeked at me, giggling. They didn't have much, but they shared everything without hesitation. We barely spoke the same language, but we connected through smiles. As I ate the best soup of my life, I realized this wasn't special to them. It was just normal. You see someone in need and you help. And then there was the joy, not the short burst of happiness you get from a good day, but a steady, unshakable joy. I saw it in kids shooting hoops on a homemade basketball net, in women laughing together while washing clothes in the river, in men singing karaoke outside a small store. Life here wasn't driven by stress over jobs, bills, or the chase for more. The focus was on family, community, and living in the moment. That, I realized, was the real treasure. I thought I'd seen natural beauty in Europe, the highlands, the Mediterranean. But the Philippines was different. Its beauty wasn't polished or packaged. It was raw, wild, and alive. One day in Palawan, I asked a boatman to take me somewhere quiet. He steered through a narrow gap in the cliffs, and suddenly we were in a hidden lagoon. White sand, crystal clear water, jungle sounds echoing all around. Not a single other person in sight. It felt like I had discovered a secret paradise. Unlike Europe's crowded beaches, this wasn't a tourist attraction. It was nature in its purest form, and it made me feel more alive than ever. The biggest change, though, came from the Filipino way of life. There's a phrase, bahala na. It's often translated as, whatever happens, happens. But someone explained it better. It means you do your best, prepare what you can, and then trust the universe with the rest. It's a mindset that brings peace because it accepts what you can't control. Life here moved at a slower rhythm, guided by the tides, the weather, and time spent with people, not by a strict clock. The cost of living was also freeing. A meal could cost just a couple of dollars, a fresh coconut less than one. It wasn't about being cheap, it was about freedom. Freedom from constant financial worry. I could say yes more often, yes to new foods, yes to island trips, yes to treating friends. That simplicity showed me that a rich life isn't about owning more, it's about having more of what really matters: time, relationships, laughter, and peace of mind. By the time I flew home, I wasn't the same person who set out to conquer Europe. That version of me was a tourist, chasing checklists. The one who came back was a traveller, carrying memories and connections. Europe taught me how to see, but the Philippines taught me how to feel. It completely rewrote my philosophy of travel, and maybe of life itself. My goal stopped being about seeing as much as possible. Instead, it became about connecting as deeply as possible. Yes, the practical side mattered. The cost of living in the Philippines is far lower than in many Western countries. But that affordability isn't the prize itself. It's the key that unlocks the real prize: time, freedom from 60-hour work weeks, space to breathe, to be present, to say yes to new experiences instead of always worrying about bills. But it's not just the affordability, it's the people and the culture that make it truly special. When I say the Philippines stole my heart, it wasn't a theft, it was an exchange. I left behind the checklist, the rigid timetable, and the belief that value lies only in monuments and Michelin stars. In return, I gained something far more meaningful: genuine kindness, resilient joy, and the raw beauty of a world that hasn't been smoothed over by perfection. Europe is incredible. Its history and art are unmatched, and it's a place everyone should see. But the Philippines? The Philippines is something you feel. It doesn't just show you life, it invites you to live it with open arms. Europe showed me the world, but the Philippines showed me what it means to belong to it. It didn't just steal my heart, it gave me a new one. So if your dream is to marvel at the world's great monuments, Europe is waiting. But if you're looking for something deeper, for a journey that surprises you, challenges you, and leaves a mark on your soul, you might just find it here. That's my story. Now I want to hear yours. What country has unexpectedly captured your heart? What place surprised you and changed the way you see travel? Share your stories in the comments. I read every one of them. Thanks for coming along on this journey with me. I'll see you in the next adventure.